Hello, this is Lachlan and welcome to day 34 of my 90-day YouTube video challenge. And today I was watching Bill Clinton's speech at the Democratic National Convention. Yes, it was on television all the way over here in Australia. And it was amazing watching Bill as a communicator. And there were several things that I picked up and noticed about the speech, so I just thought I'd share those today. And I'm sure you've had your observations as well if you watched that speech, and let me know about those in the comments. But some of the things that I noticed were that Bill started the speech with really just a series of statements that, about Barack Obama that got the crowd warmed up. He sort of got the energy moving, and he got that momentum going with a series of questions with a pace and an energy. And then he got into the meat of his talk, and the meat of his talk was really about making some really solid policy points that he felt differentiated the Democrats from the Republicans. And it was like the middle position in a debating team where his job was to rebut the first speaker of the other team. And he did a very good job of that. And some of the things that I noticed were that he used a couple of devices which were really useful in increasing the power and authority of his speech. One of his devices was that he would make really strong comparisons and using a metaphor of the score, like the score in a football game. So he would say that so many jobs were created by Republicans in the last 52 years, and so many were created by Democrats. And look, the Democrats had a much larger figure. So here's the score. And he used that metaphor several times to create graphic comparisons of the performance of the Democrat Party versus the Republican Party. And that was a very powerful device that he used in his speaking. The second thing that I really picked up was that he'd make a point, and he'd make quite a powerful point. But then he would say, well, let me tell you why. So he might be making a point about employment figures, but he would say, well, here's why Barack Obama's been doing such a good job, or here's why it matters. And he would break it down. So he'd have a structure where he'd make a point, and then he'd break down the reasons why to help us understand that point. And that was very powerful because, A, it reinforced the point that he was making, but also it reinforced the emotion and the logic that came with the point that he was making, with an even deeper level of understanding as to why he was correct in that point, or at least as far as the presentation, he gave the facts to buttress that presentation. So it was a really powerful piece of communication, and one that we can all learn a lot from watching. So I got a lot out of watching that speech, and even just the oration for that kind of crowd. Because I don't know if you noticed, but if you watch a big crowd, the presentation to a big crowd speech, there's quite a different pace in the way that the oratory comes across. So it's more, he has to allow more time for the ideas to land. So you see many times throughout that speech, he's sort of putting up his hand, he's waiting, people come back having heard his ideas, and then he moves on to the next point. So it was a very powerful speech in terms of a lot of powerful communication techniques being used that we can all model and learn from. So I hope that was useful. I'm Lachlan. Again, this is day 34 of my 90-day YouTube video challenge, and talk to you in the next video.